Well, the election campaign is hotting up in Jammu and Kashmir and Jharkhand as the big guns get into the field. Welcome to Verdict 2014. I'm your host, Frank Pereira. First up, a look at the headlines. Big guns get into campaign mode. Home Minister Rajnath Singh for the BJP and Sonia Gandhi for the Congress to address rallies in Jammu and Kashmir today. RJD Chief Lalu Prasad targets Prime Minister Narendra Modi on cross-border firing ahead of his election campaign in Kashmir. And Dumka residents struggle with total lack of development or welfare programs. RSTV takes a close look at amenities in Chief Minister Hemant Soren's constituency. Well, big leaders of all parties are gradually getting into campaign mode ahead of the first phase of polling on the 25th of November. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will kick off his campaign tour in Jammu and Kashmir on Saturday. He will address several rallies in Kishtwar that is going to polls on the 25th. Modi is scheduled to visit the state again for nearly half a dozen rallies on November 27th and 30th. Home Minister Rajnath Singh will be visiting the Chenab Valley for 2 days starting today and is expected to hold several rallies. 14 assembly constituencies of Jammu and Kashmir will be going to polls on the 25th, including 6 seats in the Chenab Valley. Meanwhile, days before Prime Minister Narendra Modi launches his campaign for the forthcoming assembly polls, RJD Chief Lalu Prasad took a dig at him. Adding to the opposition barbs over the Prime Minister's foreign tours, Lalu described him as a non-resident Indian. He tried to highlight that Modi has been touring foreign countries at a time when there is trouble at the borders with Pakistan and China. He also accused Modi of making false promises of bringing back black money.
अब ये देश के प्रधानमंत्री नहीं रहे, एनआरआई हो गए नरेंद्र मोदी। उधर दंडवत कर रहे हैं। हमारे सीमा पर पाकिस्तान रोज गोला मार रहा है। लेह और लद्दाख में चीन के सैनिक जब मन में आता मतवाला हाथी की तरफ हमारे जवानों के बंकर को उठा कर फेंक देता। और नरेंद्र मोदी जो बोलते थे कि आंख में आंख नहीं मिलाएगा हमको पाकिस्तान और चीन वगैरह सब, तो ये अहमदाबाद में साबरमती का दर्शन ये करा रहे थे।
Meanwhile, notifications will be issued today for the fourth phase of polls in Jharkhand and Jammu and Kashmir. Polling will be held in 15 constituencies in Jharkhand and 18 constituencies in Jammu and Kashmir in the fourth phase on the 14th of December. The last date for filing nominations for this phase is the 26th of November. The last date for withdrawal will be the 29th. The polling dates for elections in the two states are November 25th and December 2nd, 9th, 14th and 20th. Counting of votes for both states will be on the 23rd of December. Moving on, now large parts of Dumka Assembly constituency in Jharkhand that goes to polls on the 20th of December remain cut off from any form of government aid for development or welfare programs. Residents of villages here say that they have felt none of the ostensible benefits of living in the constituency of State Chief Minister Hemant Soren. Here's a report.
Village Murgathali, just 8 kilometers from main Dumka city, among Jharkhand's biggest metros and falling within the assembly constituency limits. Yet the hamlet has felt none of the benefits of being within the Chief Minister's constituency. Education, housing and irrigation facilities remain a far cry. Many here don't have access to even electricity and a regular water supply. There are no government-run healthcare centres and nothing for welfare of widows or the aged. Residents even say they were better off before Jharkhand had been created.
नेता लोग आते हैं यहाँ पर?
नहीं,
कोई नेता नहीं आता है?
नहीं,
आपको पेंशन वगैरह मिलता है?
नहीं,
वृद्धावस्था पेंशन?
नहीं मिलता।
कोई सरकारी लाभ?
सरकारी लाभ कुछ नहीं मिलता है।
No avenues for employment, next to no roads, so they remain virtually cut off from the mainstream. The people of Murgathali are completely caught up with the struggles of everyday life, and their representatives haven't cared for them either, emerging only at election time.
सरकार की ओर से हम लोग क्या मांग रखेंगे? यहाँ पे नेता वोट के समय में आते हैं बरसाती मेढक की तरह, और जैसे ही इलेक्शन खत्म हो जाता है वो चले जाते हैं. यहाँ सरकार नाम का कोई चीज ही नहीं.
Chief Minister Hemant Soren is to be the Vidhan Sabha candidate from Dumka this time too. He'd been elected to the assembly from here in 2009. His father Shibu Soren has been elected to the Lok Sabha from Dumka. Bring the massive shortcomings in Murgathali village to Hemant Soren's attention and he just tells you there's lots that remains to be done.
वृद्धा पेंशन की बात कही, ये बात आपको भी मालूम है कि हमने वृद्धा पेंशन सभी वृद्धाओं को देने को सुनिश्चित किया हुआ, तो ये सवाल ही नहीं होता.
वहाँ एकदम विकास से कोसों दूर है वो गाँव.
मैंने कहा ना, बहुत सारी चीजें अभी बाकी है.
Opposition candidate Lois Morandi of the BJP points out that Murgathali is only one of hundreds of villages in Jharkhand completely left out of the development cycle.
जो सत्ता में बैठे हैं लोग, गांव का जीवन क्या होता है ये उन लोग को पता ही नहीं है, कभी गांव में रहे नहीं हो. जो विरासत में जिनको मिला है अनुकंपा के हिसाब से, तो उनको ये सारे चीज़ों का नई समस्या समझ में आएगा.
In villages of this assembly segment reserved for a lawmaker of the scheduled tribe category, elections come and go, but little has changed. There's only a glimmer of hope that things may get better this time. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television.
Meanwhile, Hiranagar Assembly constituency in Kathua district along the border with Pakistan in Jammu and Kashmir has frequently borne the brunt of unprovoked firing that has threatened lives and livelihoods. Yet residents here say that they refuse to be cowed down and are eager to come out and vote.
They have felt the travails of living along a volatile border firsthand. Residents of this village town, most of them farming folk, have had frequent brushes with Pakistani militants crossing over into India. Security forces frequently ask them to evacuate their homes and fields, move hurriedly into makeshift tents and schools miles away. It's a tough life, and local authorities feel steps taken by the administration for their welfare leaves a lot to be desired.
हम चाहते हैं कि 5-5 मरले प्लाट जो हैं सुरक्षित स्थानों पे दिए जाएं, बॉर्डर एरिया को रिजर्वेशन दी जाए, जैसे एलओसी एएलसी पे रिजर्वेशन है उस तरीके की रिजर्वेशन दी जाए, पढ़ाई में नौकरी में सभी जगह रिजर्वेशन दी जाए.
The state of these roads reflects a lack of any infrastructure development in the area since independence. Farming is the only real occupation at hand and it is filled with risks. Issues like availability of better and cheaper seeds, fertilizers and a sale depot for crops top concerns. There's little in terms of employment opportunities for the youth either. Yet, what stand out here is an eagerness to go out and vote. Residents say they refuse to be cowed down by Pakistan's effort to inject turmoil in their lives. All they want is a voice that will take their concerns to the right forum.
हमारी बॉर्डर के ऊपर कोई डर नहीं है. लोगों ने खेती भी की है, आगे भी लगाई है, पीछे भी लगाई है फसल. तो ये लगा रहे हैं. जहाँ तक अभी पाकिस्तान का हमें पहले से डर कम है, क्योंकि हमारी फौज चौकन्नी है और 24 घंटे हमारे बॉर्डर पे खड़े हैं, हमारी ड्यूटियां दे रहे हैं.
वोट तो हम डालेंगे, चाहे गोली चले चाहे जो मर्जी हो, वोट हम डालेंगे अच्छे उम्मीदवार को, कोई भी हो. तो हमें यही चाहते हैं कि हमारी सारे मसले हल हो जाए.
Hiranagar goes to polls in the final phase of voting on the 20th of December. The constituency presently has a BJP MLA. No definite anti-incumbency wave, but the residents here want concerted action to improve their lot. And they have faith in India's democracy to bring out corrections. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, people in election-bound Jammu and Kashmir are complaining of lack of basic infrastructure. With no bridge to connect the Manawa River to their school, young children are risking their lives just to get an education. Parents say that they have received little help from the administration despite repeated protests.
In election season, residents of Jammu and Kashmir are hopeful their problems will be heard, at least now. Chief among them is the poor road infrastructure. So bad is the situation that without a bridge over the Manwa River, children in the Natpur Dhalyan village of Rajouri district risk their lives just to go to school. Local residents complain the administration hasn't thought it fit to build a bridge, despite the many incidents of drowning they have reported.
दरिया काफ़ी जो है वो उसमें फ्लड आ जाता है और बच्चे जो है वो काफ़ी यहाँ इस स्कूल में आने से इतराते हैं, क्योंकि यही एक मात्र सहारा है कि यहाँ अगर हमारे बीच में यहाँ से लेकर एक पुल बन जाए तो उसकी वजह से मैं समझता हूँ कि हमारी स्ट्रेंथ यहाँ आज एक 65 है, उससे बढ़कर हमारी सोच से भी ऊपर से भी हो सकती है।
इधर से 10 किलोमीटर है जो निशारे वाला पुल है, इधर जंगल में ले जाते हैं उठा कर बड़ी मुसीबत से। जिस वक्त हमारे से वायदा हुआ करते हैं, जिस वक्त इलेक्शन आता है तो आप ब्रिज देंगे, जिस वक्त इलेक्शन लग जाता है कोई देखता भी नहीं हमारे पास।
The state government has an interesting excuse. It says while building the bridge is a priority, they can't do it because of the model code of conduct.
उसको प्रायोरिटी पर हमने 3-4 दफ़ा बोर्ड की मीटिंग में और बोर्ड की मीटिंग के अलावा जब चीफ मिनिस्टर साहब से मिले या जो पीडब्ल्यूडी मिनिस्टर साहब हैं उनसे मिले तो उसको प्रायोरिटी पर हमने रखा हुआ है। और मुझे उम्मीद है कि ये इलेक्शन के फ़ौरन बाद जब ये ख़त्म होता है ये हमारा कोड ऑफ कंडक्ट तो इसको तरजीह में वो यहाँ पुल का जो है निर्माण होगा।
Jammu and Kashmir is slated to go to elections from 25th November in a 5-phased elections. Bureau Report, Rajya TV.
Well, that's it on this edition of Verdict 2014. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good day.